Everyone, welcome to the show. So, I wanted to talk about what's going on with Israel and the Palestinians, Hamas. If you are only watching mainstream media news, specifically MSNBC, you are getting a milquetoast, watered down, completely bullshit version of what is going on with this so-called peace deal that Donald Trump and Netanyahu are putting forth. I watched this morning. Don't watch. I listen to on the podcast Morning Joe every morning because, as you guys know, I like to get a varied look at the news. I don't just only consume progressive news. I consume everything from the far left to the far right and everything in between. So I listened to Morning Joe to see what the moderates have to say. And as usual, they just completely tried to put the best spin on this and make it seem like, oh, Israel is being so mature and they're being so responsible. And, now we're going to see what happens because this is just the best thing ever and the best deal in the world. And so, how could Hamas and the Palestinians possibly turn their nose up at this? Okay. So, I'm going to go over that. I'm going to go over why it's bullshit. But I also want to share with you why this is happening. The reason this is happening is because no matter what else you can say about Netanyahu, he's not a stupid man. And he recognizes that the entire world is, minus maybe some other dictators, the entire world is turning against him and turning against his government, turning against his country. So you may have heard numerous countries announce that they are now recognizing a Palestinian state. Something that should have been done a long time ago. If you haven't heard that, here's one of the articles showing that. So, or actually, excuse me, this is an article showing that the Senate Democrats introduced a bill for the first time ever, as it says, they are now trying to recognize a Palestinian state. This isn't going to go anywhere, right? Republican lawmakers are way too invested in Israel, taking way too much money from the Israel lobby, AIPAC. They are Israel's bitch. That's just the way it is. So that's not going to happen. But it was a nice gesture. It was nice for a change. The polling also shows a lot of eroding support for Israel. So it's especially among young voters. And take a look at this. So not a majority, but as compared to last year, more Americans now think that the U.S. government is giving too much support to Israel. And in a recent Quinnipiac poll, 60% of the registered voters that they surveyed oppose sending more military aid to Israel. 60%. So the tide is turning. The tide has turned. They also surveyed a bunch of people, this group called Alliance for Middle East Peace. And 2/3 of the respondents in that poll oppose Israel annexing the West Bank. That is very key. Keep that in mind. 2/3. So roughly, what is that? 66% of Americans oppose the Israeli government and their military annexing the West Bank. That included 55% of voters who identified as MAGA Republicans. So Netanyahu knows his days are numbered. He has a problem. He also knows, as I've shared with you guys, he has been indicted. He is the Donald Trump of Israel. So if he is out of power, then he can go to trial and be convicted and he can go to prison for fraud. So he wants to avoid that. So it is in his best interest to drag this out for as long as possible. And I believe that that is what this is about. I think he put together this deal with Donald Trump that he knows is never going to go anywhere, that the Palestinians would be absolute fools to take, because it does nothing to solve the problem that led to October 7th. They would still be in charge in Gaza and in the palace where Palestinians are living. Palestine, which I'm now going to call it that. I do recognize a Palestinian state. They're still going to occupy that land with armed military. So nothing has changed. They're not giving any guarantees that they won't re-up the military action that's ongoing at this moment. They have made no guarantees that they won't go right back to this genocidal insanity that they have going on, starving these people to death, bombing people, blowing up men, women, and children and babies. So none of that is in there. Basically, what will have changed? I mean, there was a reason, not that it was justified. It was in no way, shape, or form was October 7th justified. There were reasons, though. There were reasons that Palestinians were at the end of their rope. When you have people coming in and stealing your land, killing people and then taking their land, when you have even before this genocide, before this absolute, complete, and total blockade almost of food getting into Gaza, they were already controlling their food, their medicine, their movements. I mean, they were kept like prisoners. So this changes none of that. This doesn't, and it 100% says there will be no two-state solution. The Palestinians will not have their own state. So, I mean, it's like just hitting the reset button and going right back to where it was before October 7th, which was unacceptable and unlivable for the Palestinian people. Nevertheless, like I said, Donald Trump, Netanyahu are out there, oh, this is so great, this is the best they're going to get, take it or leave it, essentially. Well, like I said, Netanyahu sees the writing on the wall. He sees where things are going. He needed a release valve to make himself look like he's the one that's being rational. He's the one that's being reasonable. Look at, I'm throwing them this rope and, it's up to them now to take it, even though I've put in nothing to make their living conditions any better or any different than they were before October 7th when this all kicked off. Okay. So Netanyahu is also trying a different tact on top of, he's like, running a dual operation here of trying to influence Americans to change our minds about what we can see with our own eyes, which is his government and his military literally purposely targeting civilians, slaughtering them. And we don't just know this from random videos. His own IDF soldiers put these videos online, showing them, celebrating, murdering innocent civilians. We know this from other videos that have been collected and distributed around the world at these food aid sites where they literally play games with these people. There have been doctors that have gone online, that have given interviews, who have been working in this area who have numerous doctors. I'm not talking about one or two. I'm talking about multiple doctors who have been there on the front lines treating Palestinians as they come in with gunshot wounds. And the doctors have all concurred that it is like a game to the IDF. Because one day, and the doctors have said this too, they have said, we know when there is a food aid site open, because that is when we get a ton of gunshot victims. And the reason they call it a game for the IDF is because on different days, all of the victims come in with the same wounds. So one day it will be stomach wounds. They will be shot in the stomach, everybody. Another day it will be their legs. Another day it will be their arms or their shoulders or head wounds. We have videos of IDF soldiers celebrating, saying, oh, I got one. So this bullshit of, oh, you know, they only shoot because of the stampede and they're trying to keep order, that is complete and total bullshit. It is a genocide. They are doing this purposely. So make no mistake. And before anybody goes tippy-tapping in the comments section, save it. Just save it. I've seen enough. I've heard enough. I've witnessed it with my own eyes, the videos of what is going on over there. So you're not going to convince me with some history of this region. I don't give a shit. I only care what's going on right now. I care that people are being slaughtered. Babies are being slaughtered right now. That's what matters. And if you're okay with that, then, you know, and don't bother with the insult either. Oh, you must be an anti-Semite. Everybody who knows me knows that's bullshit to the nth degree, and they will laugh you out of the room. I would question, maybe you hate Muslims. Maybe you're a Laura Loomer lover. Maybe, you know, you just hate anybody who is Muslim. So anyway, back to this. So Netanyahu is making a plan with right-wing influencers, pro-Israel right-wing influencers. He met with them in secret. I don't know who recorded this, but somebody got him on tape or on video, and he is admitting, you're going to see and hear him admitting that, number one, he's insulting Donald Trump supporters. You're going to hear him call them a name. Anybody who doesn't go along with this genocide on the right, he insults them. And then you're going to hear him talk about this merger. You're going to hear him talk about this purchase of TikTok and how he thinks that is his ticket. That's how he's going to influence Americans. So I'm seriously considering, if this deal goes through and they sell TikTok to Donald Trump's allies, I am seriously considering canceling my TikTok account. I don't want them having access to the shit, to my account, to my information. So take a listen to what he has to say. This is just almost unbelievable.
Influencers, okay. He said, we talked about the woke right, and he said, I call it the woke Reich. That's a brilliant observation. The woke Reich, because these people, you know, they're not any different from the woke left. I mean, they're insane, they're movies. But they're actually meeting on some of the things. And what we have to do is we have to secure that part of the base of our support in the United States. That is being challenged systematically. We have to fight back. How do we fight back? Our influencers. I think you should also talk to them if you have a chance, to that community. They're very important. And secondly, we're going to have to use the tools of battle. You know, the weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords. That doesn't work very well. And you have these new things, like drones, things like that. I won't get into that. But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is class
Followers.
TikTok. TikTok, number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one that's most important?
X.
X.
That's
Exactly. Very good. And, so we have to talk to Elon. He's not an enemy. He's a friend. We should talk to him. Now, if we can get those two things, we get a lot. And I could go on other things, but that's not the point right now. We have to fight the fight, okay? To give direction to the Jewish people and give direction to our non-Jewish friends or those who could be our Jewish our friends.
Yeah. So the woke Reich is what he's calling Donald Trump supporters who don't want to go along with this genocide. And then he's flat out laying it out. Oh, we're going to use TikTok for propaganda. And and Twitter too. Yeah, we'll just talk to Elon. We've got him in our pocket. He'll help us out. Like, imagine if a world leader said that about people with social media influence on the left wing. Right? If you had a left wing, which I can't even really think of any anymore, right? I mean, Mark Zuckerberg has totally sold out. But imagine, if you had this liberal, billionaire who owned a social media platform and you had a foreign country leader saying, oh yeah, we'll just give him a call and he'll help us out with that to get our left-wing message out there and push our propaganda. It's just naked, it's just blatant, it's just out there. And then check this out. So one of the people who is purchasing TikTok or slated to purchase TikTok is Larry Ellison. He is the founder of Oracle. He is also a huge Trump supporter. I believe he donated a ton of money to Donald Trump and his candidacy. So he is one of the people who is said to be purchasing TikTok, and he was at some event recently, and here's what he had to say. He was asked, how he's involved with Israel, what he sees in them, all of, how he's intertwined. Very, very interesting answers here.
Tell us, what is your connection to Israel?
Well,
So if you couldn't hear that because it's kind of low, he says, what is your connection to Israel? It's a guy interviewing him.
the renewal of the Jewish state is something that I think touches all of us. For 2,000 years, we were a stateless people. And now we have a country of our own, defended by all the brave men and women of the IDF. So anything we can do to support them who devote their lives for preserving the state of Israel, keeping the people safe, and allowing our state to continue in sometimes in very, very difficult situations. And I feel a deep emotional connection to the state of Israel and the Israeli people. We've actually acquired a number of Israeli companies. We have two CEOs at Oracle. One's name is Safra Katz, and she was born in Israel. So again, we love the country of Israel, and we'll do everything we can to support the country of Israel.
We recently hear that many people criticizing Israel, especially after the Gaza operation. How do you feel as someone just saying we love Israel so much?
Well,
So again, if you can't hear the interviewer, he asked him about the issue with Gaza and the war going on. And here's what Larry Ellison had to say about it.
again, it's a difficult situation, isn't it? To conduct military operations around civilians is very difficult, and of course there were tragedies, and the civilians were hurt. That's a terrible thing. But one thing we know for certain, that the Israeli army did everything they could to minimize civilian casualties. And in that regard, they've done a much better job than a lot of other armies all over the world throughout history.
I'm just like flabbergasted. I've watched that now a few times, and it just, every time it blows my mind. He is flat out denying that they are systematically murdering these people. You are intentionally starving an entire population. Estimates are that they have now killed with guns and bombs like, 200,000 Palestinians. And then they are starving and killing how many more? Will not let American press in, by the way. What do you have to hide? If you have nothing to hide, why are you hiding it? Why don't you let them in? Do you know how many journalists they have murdered? Like the journalists that they do allow in, or the ones who live there and are trying to get the word out? It's something insane. It's like 2 to 3 dozen at this point. And some of them, they know for a fact were targeted. It's not like, oh gosh, we didn't mean to. No, they waited until they were all together and bombed them. And they do what they call a double tap, where they will set off a bomb or use a drone or something, and then wait until other people come to help because they see that something exploded, that people are hurt. They wait for good Samaritans to come in and to help those people, and then they hit them again to kill even more. So this is what we're dealing with. These people are sick. They are money hungry. You saw there, Larry Ellison is like one of the most wealthy people in the world, clearly spending a lot of it on Botox. Dude, lay off. He looks like he's in a wind tunnel. But beyond that, the guy is justifying these murders. Oh, they didn't mean to. They've tried so hard not to kill these people. That is a flat out 100% lie. So either he doesn't know that, either he is so ignorant and uninformed that he doesn't know what's going on, or he is lying. He is lying on their behalf. So again, this whole deal is nonsense. It's absurd. There's no way that the Palestinian people, that Hamas, that their people are going to be interested in taking this, because it solves nothing. It does nothing. And then you have this whitewashing of what's going on. It's crazy. And you're going to have this guy taking over TikTok. So guess what we're going to be fed on TikTok? The whitewashed version of Israel's genocide. And then they're going to go talk to Elon Musk. And then guess what people are going to get on Twitter? The whitewashed version of the genocide. So this is maddening. This is insanity. I am really hoping that people see through this. I don't know if it's going to work. All we can do is share the information that we have. So anyway, guys, I will let you know if I hear any more. I'm just, I don't know. There are days that I have a lot of hope, and then there are days that I just think we're cooked. This might be one of those days where I'm thinking that we're done. We're baked, because they're taking over everything. And so the messaging, the propaganda is just going to be everywhere. So get the word out, share this video with everybody you know, and go do your own research. Check online, check on YouTube, check on TikTok for now, to see the truth, see the videos for yourself. All right. Thank you all so much. Please like, please share this. Subscribe if you have not. If you can donate, I really appreciate it. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.